Welcome back to this week's Hot and Cold Report. I am Jason Gilbo here, brought to you by Fantasy Baseball Cafe. We're about 2 weeks away from the All-Star break, and we're starting to really look at those second half turnaround guys, some guys to possibly throw on the block, ship off. If you're building for the future, we got some names coming your way over the next 2 weeks or so to really take a look at. But we're going to keep things fairly recent with the last 30 days or 14 here. Just look at some hot bats to target. They've been generating some fantasy buzz. Looking at this one first here, Nolan Arenado for Colorado. Just an unreal streak he's on. He has 8 homers in the last 2 weeks. He's doing it outside of cores, in cores, which is a really nice sign from those Colorado fantasy guys. Because guys like Charlie Blackmon, they struggle on the road, while the only damage comes 81 games a year. Even Tulo struggles a little bit outside. I mean, with hitting conditions that they play under, you're obviously going to see a slump away, but Arenado's kind of defying that logic right now. He's hitting 288 with 24 homers on this season. He's only 24 years old. I think people, kind of forget that. Yeah, he was kind of getting some buzz coming into the season as being one of the top third basemen, but I don't think 288 and 24 homers, 2 weeks away from the All-Star break is where we saw him. So he's definitely thriving and both home and on the road, which is a nice sign. So the Fantasy Baseball Cafe forums, a lot of guys in there talking about trading for Arenado, and one of the popular guys to trade for him has been Chris Bryant. You figure 2 young, guys playing the hot corner. Bryant's only a year younger than Arenado. So if you don't know that, they are pretty equal for age and talent-wise and production for the future. So whether it's a dynasty or a keeper league, they're looking to grab Arenado, whether it's they just like him hitting in cores or being in that lineup going forward. They're willing to ship off Bryant. I've seen a couple trades go through. Personally, I like Arenado just a little bit more over Bryant for those reasons, hitting in cores. He's shown a tremendous jump already from last year when he hit 287 with 18 homers in 111 games. So just a big jump already. I'm not going to go throw the kitchen sink and try and get him, or dump half my roster to try and build for the future for him. But if a lot of prospects coming up this season, guys like Carlos Correa and Mookie Betts, like just those types of names right now are starting to really build some buzz, and people want them just for the hype. Not that I'm saying Bryant's gonna fall below that or any of those guys will, but Arenado deserves it right now, and he's kind of proven already to be a fantasy guy. So I just thought that was an interesting swap there for Bryant for Arenado. Saw that a couple of times in the league. So looking at some other guys here. Speaking of Mookie Betts, had a nice solo shot today against the Blue Jays. He's really quickly brought up his average here. He was sitting in the low 200s. He's hitting a 273 today. 12 stolen bases on the year. He's only been caught once. He's definitely headed for 20 plus stolen bases. So nice numbers from him. His strikeout rate is only 11%, hitting 330 in the month of June. Maybe a guy I'm looking as a nice trade piece later on. If people have excess second baseman, outfield, that sort of deal. If you're looking to maybe tack on one more piece, if you're willing to push a trade, I'm looking at Mookie Betts there. And another bat, while Mitch Moreland's done his series, or his damage in the Baltimore series with 4 homers in 2 games, he's still putting together a really nice season. He's hitting 305 with 14 homers and 45 RBIs. And he may be the reason Joey Gallo got sent down. If maybe Moreland was struggling a little bit, Gallo would be still up here. I know it was going to be a crowded situation with Beltre coming back from the DL, but I'm looking at Moreland. He's got really great batted ball stats. Numbers are really, really good this season. So if you need to fill in for first base or utility, I'm definitely looking Mitch Moreland's way. And he has, he plays in Texas. He's in a good spot in the order with some good guys on. So he's a nice bat to look for. Heading to the bump, let's go out to Seattle. Not only Taiwan Walker, who I was talking about last week, but lefty Michael Montgomery. Another complete game shutout today against the Padres, so a second one in the row. 1.62 ERA in June. He had a monster outing against the Royals, which is really impressive because they don't strike out a lot, but he had double-digit strikeouts, a FIP in the low threes during this span here. And, coming off another shutout today, I think we got to take him pretty seriously because, while he has a low ground ball rate and his strikeout rate isn't great, he's getting the job done. And, of course, he's pitching out there in Safeco, which is a nice bump. And everything else looks pretty impressive from this guy. Where will he be when Iwakuma comes back, or James Paxton comes back? It's tough to tell, but for the meantime, I'll ride out this hot streak here. Clay Buchholz, he's been the lone stud for the Sox rotation with a really impressive start against the Blue Jays in the Rogers Center this past Tuesday here, and 4-0 with a 2.29 ERA in June. He's been really great. Everything's working for him right now. He's got a good fastball going. His cutter is working, and his changeup has always been his best pitch, and that's been his strikeout pitch. So he's looked really good there. And back to the Houston Astros, Lance McCullers. We talked a little bit about him. He's not a fantasy flash in the pan. 2.63 FIP to match a 2.19 ERA, generating a 10.1% strikeout rate. Just another one of these young Houston guys who's getting the job done and coming in and being immediate fantasy value. So now let's go to the other side of the spectrum here. James Shields, 5.52 ERA over the last 30 days, but just a 3.05 FIP and a 400 BABIP, and just a really rough stretch for Shields. Nothing more than that. It's tough. He's keeping the ball in the yard, which was a big problem for him earlier in the season. And while his strikeout rate has come down from the ridiculous rate he had earlier in the season, he's still above average. So nothing really to worry about there. Just a tough stretch with him. If you have a guy who's willing to ship Shields off for cheap, just due to the struggle here, I would look to go grab him. And then kind of a warning sign here from Alfredo Simon, 5.40 ERA in the last 5 starts. He's allowing 5 earned runs to the Pirates tonight. He's been pretty serviceable as he was last season, but last season he had the second half slide. In 2014 he had a 4.52 ERA in the second half compared to 2.70 in the first. The batted ball stats are starting to climb a little bit here. I tend to think it's a warning sign for going on for the future here and down the road. So whether you can get something for him or not, or maybe just an early sign before the real blow up begins, I'm not a big fan of Simon going forward. A couple guys playing the hot corner in a bit of a slump. Last 3 days, Matt Carpenter's hitting 190. But there's been no dramatic trends from month to month with strikeout rate, walk rate, all that stuff. Just a pretty bad slump here. So if a guy's willing to ship Carpenter off, there's no way he continues this trend going forward. So a nice buy low option for those impatient owners. Kyle Seager is another one. Carries a really low strikeout rate, and his batted ball stats are on par with his normal rates. So another option there. A couple of outfielders, Josh Reddick, AJ Pollock, are a couple buy low candidates just because of them kind of going cold a little bit over. They were really good early in the season and someone up here a little bit late. But then there's these dreadful guys that I have no belief in coming out of the cold zone here. And there's some big names: Ian Desmond, Carlos Santana, Mike Napoli. Take what you want from it. And I still have no hope in Robinson Cano. And it's probably not what you want to hear, but I can't see them coming back and having tremendous fantasy value going forward. So sorry to wrap that up with some bad news with some big names there, but that's going to end this week's Hot and Cold Report.